Hey guys! Today I'm here with Kelly from the channel Strawberry Mochi, and we're going to talk about mistakes that we've made in Japan. Yeah, there are a lot.
Yeah, pretty embarrassing ones too. So
yeah.
So Rachel, why don't you start?
Okay, so I guess one of the biggest mistakes, I don't even know if you would call it a mistake, just kind of like a really embarrassing thing. Japan has really advanced toilets, and all of them are completely different. So I've seen like 10 different ways to flush toilets here in Japan, and sometimes they're not exactly intuitive.
So many buttons.
And there's one particular type of toilet that I could not figure out how to flush. I looked at all of the buttons, there was no handle. I was in like a big mall bathroom and I was so embarrassed. I was like, I don't want to leave the stall. But I was like, okay, all right, I need to go out. And then I like ran out of the bathroom and I got June and I was like, June, go to the boys' bathroom, tell me where the flush is. I don't know where the flush is. And I had to wait for him to go into the stall in the boys' bathroom and then come out and he was like, oh, it's this button right here. I was like, okay. And then I had to run back in and like hope no one walked into my stall after me, because they would have been like, that forward girl didn't flush the toilet. But what it is it was one of those with the wall panel on it, and there are flush buttons that are flat on top of the panel.
Okay, yeah, I've seen those.
There's
before.
the ones that say like Chisai and then
old key,
yeah,
like
for
big flush or little flush.
You can't know unless you know kanji for flushing, and even then, it's just like a flat button on top of a panel. It's not even on the outside of the panel. That's easy
because they ran out of room for buttons, so they had to flush at the top of the panel.
I was so confused. I was so embarrassed.
All right, so I have a toilet story too. It was during my internship time, and we were on like a bus tour, and we stopped. We went into the bathroom. This bathroom is really cool because it showed you like what was open and what wasn't open.
I know exactly which bathroom you're talking about.
Yeah, so they were really cool. I was like really excited, and then I couldn't find the flush button like you, and so I just pressed a random button because I just wanted to get out of the stall. So I pressed the button, and the emergency button went off, and it just was like really loud, like this alarm. And then like I just walked out like really casually, like, and then I kind of looked at my friend like, I don't know what happened. I don't know, like that's crazy. Is there like a fire or something? And then I told my friend on the bus like what happened, and I was like, that was me. It was an alarm button. So I don't know what they do with that. I guess so, like emergency button if you fall or slip or you're old or something.
Yeah.
Like you can't go to the bathroom. I don't know.
I'm sure like 99% of that button getting pushed is accidents or like little kids or something.
It could be little kids. Yeah, there's like no like maybe there's a warning sign on it. I just couldn't read it.
Yeah, I'm sure most people press it on accident.
Yeah, probably
so
the foreign people do. They should always have English.
Alright, this just happened last December. So this is why it's extra embarrassing for me, because I've been coming to Japan for like 5.5 years. I know better. But when you go through the subway booths, you have to either have a card where you can pay for your toll, or you can get tickets. And when you get a ticket, you put it into the machine and then you pick it up. And then when you leave at the station you're getting off, you put it into the machine again so it can calculate like the whole route that you went. And twice in a row, I don't know why, I forgot to pick it up. And what
happened to me too?
What happens is it'll stick up for a minute, and then if you don't pick it up, it'll just get sucked back into the machine. And it goes into
I had no idea.
Yeah, the second time I caught it. And so I was like, oh no! And I got the train station staff, and he went over and like opened up the machine and took it out of the box for me and gave me my ticket.
It's so embarrassing.
But the first time I didn't notice until I was already halfway like to my next destination on the train, and I opened my wallet and I was like, I forgot to get my ticket. I was like, no! Because I knew what was gonna happen. I would have to go talk to the train staff, and I knew they were gonna be like, oh, it's a dumb foreigner trying to cheat the system, trying to pretend like they don't know anything, getting around here for free. And I was like, oh, they're gonna think so poorly of me. I didn't do it on purpose. And so I got to the train station staff, and I was like, I forgot my ticket. And he was like, okay, I'll call the station. I was like, you don't
they had to call the station? Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
I guess you paid for it. Because when I did it, I asked them, I told them I forgot my ticket and I had to pay for it again.
Oh.
So, but I don't know.
Great.
Maybe that guy was really nice.
No, he called for me, and then I waited for a couple minutes, and he's like, yeah, they got the ticket, you're good to go. I was like, oh, okay, well, at least he doesn't think I was a foreigner trying to cheat the system. Now he just thinks I was a stupid gaijin. Forgot my ticket.
Oh god. Okay, so when you go to a restaurant in Japan, you always have to tell, the waitress how many people you have. And I think the natural way to say it is futari desu or hitori desu or something like that. but they always ask them, "Nime-sama desu ka?" And I'm like, "Hi, nime-sama desu." Which is kind of weird because you're basically saying that you're like above her. I think they want to put you above because you're like the what do you call it?
Customer.
You're the customer.
The polite speech.
Yeah. So basically, like when you say like "nime-sama desu" back to them, it's like, yes, I am superior and I am here, like royalty, you know.
Yeah.
So it just kind of makes you sound what's the word?
You're adding
high
sama
up there.
onto the end of your own name.
Yeah, sama is like God. So like you're just like you're better than everybody. I mean, maybe it's not that intense, but that's what we think when we learn Japanese is sama is kind of like God.
Right.
So, yeah, I kind of realized that recently that I was saying this, so oops.
I kind of have a language thing too, and this is a huge problem for me. I have this problem where I absorb the way that people talk when they talk to me, and then I start like repeating it back to them. So if people have like common phrases that they say, then I'll like without even thinking about it, I'll start like saying those phrases. Sometimes even if people have like a unique laugh, sometimes I just mimic them without realizing it, and it's a horrible thing that I really try not to do, but it just happens to me all the time. And the problem is when I'm talking to Japanese people who are speaking English and they're speaking with a Japanese accent, then I start repeating English words back to them with a Japanese accent, which makes me sound so incredibly racist.
Wait, can you give us an example?
So like they'll say like "hello" and I'll be like "hello." Like, hello, hello. I'm not supposed to say it.
I totally know what you mean.
Hello. Yeah, hello, and not just words, but like poor grammar. Like if they say things incorrectly, with like very stereotypical like Japanese English grammar. If you were stereotyping Japanese people in a racist way, that's exactly how I'm accidentally talking to people.
Hello.
That's like the most embarrassing thing that I do.
Have you ever talked to your family and you're like,
Oh yeah.
like you're just like making these noises and it's just, like your family's like, what are you doing? That's a mistake.
I do that all the time. Yeah.
Or like bowing. Yeah, in America, bowing.
I bow
Sumimasen.
all the time.
Sumimasen.
I did that a few times, like a couple times I've been in Korea, and I know I'm not supposed to speak English, but I don't know any Korean at all, so I just accidentally speak in Japanese there.
I guess one more mistake that you could probably like relate to is just getting on the wrong train. Not the wrong train, but like it's just going the opposite way.
Right.
And then you realize it like 3 stops later and you're like, oh crap.
Oh my God.
That's a big mistake.
Yeah, I have like the worst story. This happened like a month and a half or maybe 2 months ago. I was going to meet someone at Ichinomiya Station, and going there, I didn't know that Meitetsu has a line that splits into 2 tracks. So
I don't even know.
if you went to
scaring me, you're gonna give me train nightmares.
It goes from Nagoya, it goes like north, and then it splits and goes into a circle. And they both reach Gifu Station. I know that Ichinomiya is between Nagoya and Gifu Station. So I was on the train up to Gifu Station. And then I'm sitting on the train for 40 minutes. I have no idea what any of the stops are because I'm not used to riding Meitetsu. And I'm like, why haven't they gotten to Ichinomiya yet? And then all of a sudden I hear like, next station is Inuyama. I'm like, how am I at Inuyama? What happened? I'm not supposed to be at Inuyama. Yeah. That's like on the other side of the prefecture.
Yeah, it's far.
And so I get off there and then I have to take the train all the way back to Nagoya Station, and I'm like really upset now because now I'm already like an hour and a half late because it was like a 40-minute ride up there. When I got back to Nagoya, I was like, all right, I'm gonna be super careful. I'm gonna pick out the one that goes towards Gifu, and then I'm gonna read all of the stops that it stops at on the screen and make sure it stops at Ichinomiya. So I do that, and then I pick out the correct train. I'm like, this train for sure stops at Ichinomiya. Lucky me, there's one coming in like 1 minute. So I get on that train, and as soon as I get on, I look around and I'm like, these look like kind of fancy seats. This is like the train you take from Nagoya Airport. So yeah, I think these might be reserved seats. You might have to pay extra for these. So I'm like, okay, I'll just go to the front of the train and sit in some of the non-reserved seats. Because the trains from Nagoya Airport, they have reserved seats and then they have non-reserved seats at the front. So I walk all the way to the front of the train, and there are no non-reserved seats. The entire train is reserved. I had no idea there are entirely reserved Meitetsu trains just running around Nagoya. I had no idea that was a thing.
About that either.
And I finally get to the front, and then there's the ticket guy, and he's getting ready to walk through the train and like get everyone's reserved seat tickets. And I just start crying because I'm almost 2 hours late at this point. I'm on the wrong train, and now I have to pay extra for this reserve seat, and I'm like, absolutely everything went wrong. Yeah, and he was like, all right, you have to pay me $360. The worst part of it is I'm like crying because I'm so stressed out about this, and not just like everything that's happening, but I don't like getting in trouble. And I was like, I'm on the wrong train and I don't have the ticket. I feel like I'm gonna get in trouble. So I was like scared too. And so I'm crying. And then he just starts like smiling and laughing while I'm paying. I'm like, how are you laughing? Do you not see the despair that I'm in right now? You're so rude. Why are you laughing at me? That's really mean.
Yeah,
that was the worst experience ever.
Not too long ago, I went to the self-checkout and I had my credit card ready and I like paid for my stuff, and then you have to put the credit card into a slot, but there's so many slots. So I was just like, and it wasn't all in English or anything, and I can read some Japanese, but I just couldn't find the cards. It didn't say like card slot or anything. So I started putting my credit card into the receipt slot, and I was just like, why isn't it going in? And this lady just came up, she's like, do you need help? She was really, really nice. But like, I turned red because I was like, what am I doing? Oh my God. She's like, up here. Like it wasn't even close to the card slot. The card slot was like way at the top, and I was like, oh, it's so embarrassing. No. But at least the lady was like really nice, but everybody was probably just like in line staring at me like, what is she doing?
Foreigner's trying to put her card in the receipt.
This is actually like the first time I ever paid with the credit card at the like self-checkout, so yeah.
No, actually I've done that before too. I've tried putting it in the wrong slot because sometimes there are a lot of slots. There's slots for like tickets, there's slots for cards, and there's slots for
of buttons and slots
and slots for money. So lots of slots. And I feel so paranoid when I make a mistake in Japan because it's not just me being like, I made a mistake or whatever. It's me representing all foreigners to Japanese people. And so I feel like every time I do that, then I'm like letting down my brethren foreigners, because now I've just made foreigners look worse to Japanese people because they saw, there's another dumb foreigner making a mistake. Like I'm so paranoid about that every time I make a mistake. So it's like extra stressful for me.
Yeah. Like I don't really like going places like, I like to be with somebody if I'm doing or trying something new, but sometimes that's not the case, so I'm by myself, and I'm like, I have to figure it out by myself.
Hopefully you can learn from our
you can learn from our mistakes, and when you come to Japan, you'll know better. So this is to help you. Our stupidity is helping you.
Alright, well thank you for being on our channel, and everyone go check out Kelly on Strawberry Mochi. She makes really good videos, really super well edited and stuff, and yeah, great. So
thanks guys.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.
I felt rude not acknowledging
that. Right?
Because in America, like if someone's like, hi,
kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, like I'm always used to saying like hi back, or
Yeah.
like, thank you for welcoming me or whatever, but here you ignore them.